Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, August 25th. Over the next few days, we will see lightning continue over the southern areas of the Great Basin and continue to be on the wetter side. Up north in Idaho today, we will still see some isolated showers and thunderstorms across mainly central and eastern Idaho into Wyoming. However, much of the precipitation on the western side will be very spotty, and looks like lightning activity will be a little bit further east than what we saw yesterday. Also, winds will be increasing today over parts of Idaho with gusts mainly in the 20s. And then as we move into Friday, we'll continue with gusty winds in Idaho and along the Sierra front. However, on Saturday, that's really the big day where an area of low pressure moves in, bringing much stronger winds to parts of the Sierra front into western and northern Nevada, potentially into southern Idaho. Models are still struggling a little bit with the placement of the strongest winds, but right now this area in brown over western Nevada should see wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour. So definitely very strong winds, so we could see some holdovers pop up, especially if these winds increase a little bit more up into Idaho. Over the last 24 hours, we saw again scattered thunderstorms over the eastern and southern half of Nevada into Utah, and also thunderstorms up north into mainly eastern Idaho and Wyoming, but also isolated storms back into central Idaho. These thunderstorms in Idaho were on the wetter side over eastern Idaho and Wyoming with over 1/4 of an inch of precipitation, much more spotty precipitation back towards our large fires in the Salmon Chalice, and then also very wet over the southern areas of the Great Basin with many rainfall amounts above a 1/2 inch. Great Basin fire activity was light with just new smaller fires reported across the Great Basin and continued growth on our large fires in Idaho. Over the last 7 to 14 days, again, we've continued to see that monsoon moisture over the southern half of the region, but up north into Idaho, still some drier spots are parts of central Idaho into the Snake River Plain and also along portions of the Sierra Front. ERCs have continued to climb with some of this drier, warmer air in place over western and northern sides of the Great Basin and are now back up to normal or even just above normal over parts of the central Idaho mountains, with ERCs now also above normal along the Sierra Front. 100-hour fuel moisture has certainly dried out over the western areas of the Great Basin, and we're seeing many areas below 5%. We will likely see this drying trend continue and spread north and east as we move through the weekend and next week. The satellite loop from this morning shows a weaker area of low pressure up over northern Idaho, which again is what will help kick up the winds a little bit today and tomorrow across Idaho, and then high pressure dominating the southern areas with that monsoon moisture trapped in place. So the weather pattern for later today, again, very similar to yesterday with the thunderstorms across Nevada and Utah, and a little bit less lightning activity or pushed further east up north into Idaho. Today we have no high risk, but you can see the moderate fire potential as conditions are drying over western and northern sides of the Great Basin. Thunderstorms today, again, mostly scattered over the southern half of the region on the wetter side. Up north, thunderstorms may initiate in some of the same areas as yesterday, mainly over the eastern side of the Salmon Chalice, and then push eastward into eastern Idaho and Wyoming. Looking at the wind gusts, you can see how they are increasing over the northern half of the Great Basin. So we will see west to northwest winds increasing with gusts generally in the 20s. Could see a couple gusts right around 30 miles per hour in central Idaho. Also over northern Nevada, we'll see those gusts in the 20s as well. So this will certainly help dry out any areas that have seen recent precipitation with thunderstorms. Relative humidity will be dropping to the single digits to low teens, anywhere from western and northern Nevada up north into Idaho. As we move into Friday, we will see drier air push in a little bit further east, keeping those thunderstorms, again, mainly over eastern and southern Nevada into Utah, with again more isolated activity up north. Significant fire potential continues to dry out with a little bit more moderate risk of large fire across much of central Idaho into western Nevada, and you are seeing some drying a little bit further east into eastern Nevada as well. The thunderstorm picture very similar over southern areas for Friday, and up north, again, a little bit less lightning activity than today for Idaho, but still some isolated storms from the eastern Salmon Chalice eastward. Wind gusts tomorrow will be very similar to what we'll see today, with gusts mostly in the 20s, anywhere from Idaho into northern and western Nevada, and winds may pick up a little bit more of the enhanced zephyr along the Sierra front, with gusts around 30 miles per hour. On Friday, very similar relative humidity. That drier air does spread a little bit further east into northern Nevada and northwest Utah, with relative humidity in the teens, and then still some drying across Idaho. As we move into Saturday, again, this is where that stronger area of low pressure pushes into Idaho. This will give us an increase in winds, also cooler temperatures and some higher humidity, Right now, it's looking like much of the moisture with showers and thunderstorms will remain either on the northern fringe of our GAC or just north into northern Idaho and Montana. But models have really been struggling with this feature, so that could certainly shift north or south as we go towards Saturday. Otherwise, drier air pushes into western Nevada with much stronger winds, so we do have high risk for winds from the Sierra Front into northwest and northern Nevada. Again, this may need to be extended further north and east depending on what the models look like tomorrow. Again, they're just really struggling, so that wind threat could certainly be pushed further north. Thunderstorms on Saturday will be mainly confined to eastern Nevada and Utah, but you can see that activity possible in central Idaho, kind of skirting the northern side of the geographic area. So we'll continue to watch that, as those would certainly be faster moving, although we could see some higher humidity. Looking at the wind picture on Saturday, again, this is the main story with those wind gusts in the 35 to 45 mile per hour range over much of western Nevada into northern Nevada, and could see even some stronger winds near or above 50 miles per hour right along the Sierra Front. So again, winds don't look quite as strong in Idaho right now on Saturday, but that could certainly change, so it's something to keep an eye on, especially with our ongoing fire activity and our recent lightning, with the winds increasing the likelihood of holdovers. Relative humidity on Saturday, dry across Nevada and still dry up into southern Idaho, and you can see some drying now starting into Utah. We will have those gusty winds over southern areas of the Great Basin with some lowering humidity, but fuel is obviously not as critical that far south. 3-day amounts of precipitation are showing the wetting rains. The better potential obviously is across Utah and southern and eastern Nevada, with more spotty precipitation up north. As we move into Sunday and next week, that area of low pressure tracks to the east by Sunday, so we might see some breezy winds over eastern Idaho and Wyoming, but for the most part, winds should be dying down a little bit. Still moderate fire potential, and again, that risk of holdovers continues across especially Idaho. As we move into next week, a stronger ridge of high pressure continues to build. We will see above normal temperatures, possibly near records depending on the strength of the ridge, but certainly above normal, certainly quite a bit drier for all areas of the Great Basin, so we will likely lose much, if not all, of our lightning potential going into the early part of next week. So with the hot and dry conditions after this lightning and the wind, again, that possibility of holdovers or more active fire behavior going through the day and night is certainly likely, especially up in Idaho. 7-day total amounts of precipitation over the eastern half of the Great Basin. Again, up in Idaho, we'll see the models again continue to bounce back and forth. This picture looks like it was from an older model that showed a little bit more precipitation for Idaho on Sunday. So we'll see how that plays out. It could be a lot more spotty than what that looks like up in Idaho. And then the 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from September 1st through the 7th, still shows a warm and extended period of dry conditions for the Great Basin going at least into the first week in September, if not even a little bit longer than that. So again, we are looking for our fire danger to rebound in many areas going into September. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.